Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we got racing here in both the Xfinity Series at Mid-Ohio as well as the Cup Series at Darlington for the Southern 500, where we actually are running a throwback paint scheme. Excited for you guys to see that one. But first, we had some road course racing here in the Xfinity Series to take care of. And Paul Menard, behind the wheel, of course, qualified in the 10th position for this race. So it was looking like he was going to have a decent showing here from Mid-Ohio. And he was very aggressive right off the bat. You're going to see that here as he came through out of turns. One, it was looking calm, cool, and collected to start. But down into turn two, he's going to get very, very aggressive here and actually make it 3 wide with the 8 of Landon Castle there, as well as Josh Williams. Actually, some contact with Castle, who probably didn't expect Paul to just sail it off in there, so he was already turning into the apex. So it was a bit of an unfortunate moment there, but they all kept it going in the right direction. Then a little bit later, Paul makes it 3 wide down the front straightaway with Allgaier and Magnussen. Allgaier backed out of it. Magnussen got clear, so it was back to single file. But Menard here a little bit later now in this race towards the closing laps, he would actually make a move into turns 2 on the inside of Magnussen, move up there another position into P3, and that was about as far as Paul got here throughout the rest of this race as it came through the penultimate turn down towards the final turn on this final lap, and it was a pretty respectable third place finish for Paul Menard. And this Going Racing team here in the Xfinity Series right now is running really, really good. We've just kind of gotten all those kind of boxes checked off right now in terms of what we need to be successful with this team, and Paul doing a tremendous job behind the wheel no matter what track we're going to lately. So hopefully that continues throughout the rest of the regular season and throughout the playoffs for this final season of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Here we are in the Cup Series at Darlington, and we are running a throwback to one of my NASCAR Heat 4 Career Mode paint scheme. Is back when I drove the 41 car, Eris Ford Mustang. As you guys know, that was a Daniel Suarez car, and we drove that car for a couple seasons in the NASCAR Heat 4 Career Mode, so we're doing a throwback to that. And I have a NASCAR Heat 3 throwback car on the way soon as well for probably the second Darlington race later this season. I put up a pretty respectable qualifying lap here as we came through to cross the line with a 21.107, beating the goal, and we qualified P6 for the Darlington Raceway Southern 500, which is definitely one of my better qualifying efforts at this track in general now, as Sam Mayer on pole. As you guys know, the very first race with these new regulation changes, and right off the bat I noticed Todd Gilliland looking very improved. The Roush LeBron driver of the Christopher Bell with a very strong effort as well. Lewis Hamilton looks a little bit off, and Gordon Hendrick seems to be a little bit off in general other than us, and Joe Gibbs Racing still seems to be hit or miss, and same for Penske Racing. Alright, boys, not sure what to expect with the regulation changes here tonight, but I think this is going to give us a good idea of what we got going throughout the rest of the season, so hopefully it's good. There you hear myself on the radio to the team just saying hopefully it is good with these regulation changes. We don't know exactly what to expect still. Qualifying is absolutely a great indicator of what it could be, but we still don't know for sure until we get this race out of the way here in Texas. I think it'll even be the better indicator next episode, as this is a very unique track in its own of Darlington Raceway. But McLaren nonetheless looks still very, very strong. All of their drivers up here in the mix already with Mayer, as well as Elliott and Eric Jones in that number 7 car here now as Sam Mayer in the AlphaTauri of Brandon Jones lead the field to the green flag as we are underway for the Southern 500. And another thing I'm noticing with these regulation changes, the AlphaTauri already looking a lot more competitive. And then we've got Colleague Racing, who's never been in the mix up here in P4, so gotta keep an eye on those cars, as well as it looks like we're already seeing some changes here, as well as Anthony Alfredo up in the mix, and it said in the pre-race he was looking strong, and I'm hearing a lot of rumors coming into this weekend that the Mercedes manufacturer in general has found a way to get just more power from these regulation changes themselves. I'm not sure if they're maybe exploiting a loophole in the system now, but nonetheless you're seeing Todd Gilliland, who's in that front row Motorsports Mercedes, up inside the top 10 as I scraped the wall already. It did not take long for myself to get into the wall there, but we dropped down to P10 behind Harrison Burton, and he of course just got his first win of the season recently now, as that Joe Gibbs Racing team in general, they have struggled throughout this whole season. Kyle Busch right now right around the bubble to make it into the playoffs, won the championship last season and is now a 4-time Cup Series champion, and right now struggling to be even a playoff contender. So we'll have to see how these changes affect Kyle Busch as well as the rest of Joe Gibbs Racing, who I feel like need to improve a lot if they want to make the playoffs. Saw a bit of an aggressive move right there. I was not holding back here on the start of this race because I wanted to get whatever I could get out of this car, and we came through out of turns 2 on lap 6, and now to the back of the 45 of Derek Kraus, but we lose the back end of the car out of turns 2 and now 3 wide towards turn 3. I should have backed out of it right here. I did not. Contact with the 19. He goes for a slide. He saves it. A tremendous save by Harrison Burton there, but oh my goodness, that could have went way wrong real quick. Thank goodness it didn't, but a little bit over aggressive probably from myself. I was definitely struggling with the handling out of turns 2 specifically. If I really loose as I actually go a little bit too deep into turns 1 and get into the left rear quarter panel of the 21 of Anthony Alfredo, but fortunately nothing really goes wrong for him. Now as we're back up again the inside of the 45 of Derek Kraus, this time we get past and move up into P8, and then we would run down the 38 of Todd Gilliland. A new paint scheme, by the way, by Lighttown on that car. A Budweiser paint scheme there as I get actually into the back of him, send him sideways. He makes a great save, and now I'm like, okay, I need to calm down. We have been way too aggressive here. And I did just that. I calmed it down a little bit, just got back into a rhythm, got a pace going, and then we were running down the McLaren duo of Mayer and Elliott. But again, out of turns 2, I lose the back end. Here comes Harrison Burton. I didn't want to do him the same way I did him last time we were in this spot, so I let him go into turns 3. But I was just trying to make it to the pit stop at this point because we were way off. The back end of the car just would not stay stable out of turns 2, and that was very frustrating. We would run down Chase Elliott, who's struggling as well, just like I am, the longer the run goes, but he looks way off right now as Burton is on the move. Anthony Alfredo just behind both myself and Elliott, and I'm trying to make this move on Elliott, get past him. Of course, there's a little bit of bad blood between McLaren and Gordon Hendrick right now, and I think it will remain like that for the majority of the season, and I couldn't unfortunately get past this 9 car of Elliott, and that opened the door for Anthony Alfredo in the 21 to try and have a look up the inside into turn 3, and we know he's got speed, and he would actually be able to get by me with no problem, and then got past the 9, and then Eric Jones, Elliott's teammate, was able to get my inside into turn 3 on lap 17 and pass me as well. So now on lap 20, we're under attack from Todd Gilliland as lap traffic's up here in the mix as well. I decide we're going to pit a little bit earlier than the majority of drivers, but a few of them are going to come in right here, like Sam Mayer, as well as Chase Elliott here as we come through to get down to pace speed. Of course, I had a very weird entry right there to the pit lane, but it worked nonetheless, so I was pretty happy about that. I was just trying to play it really safe and be out of the way, but we actually overtake Elliott and Mayer on the pit lane, so we gained 2 spots out of that at the minimum, and we don't know exactly where we're going to cycle out yet, but we stayed out, or sorry, came in a little bit earlier, and a bunch of guys stayed out longer than us. Not much longer, maybe a lap or 2, but it's going to pay off because we're able to get in front of the 19 of Harrison Burton. The AlphaTauri right there of Brandon Jones, he's still ahead of myself, so hopefully we can battle him here before this stage comes to a close and try to maybe even get closer and closer to a top 5, top 6 here in stage 1. There you see, though, as we came through to lap 26, up into the top 5, right behind Brandon Jones, but I make a big mistake there through turns 1 and 2. It looked very odd, like I just turned it into the wall. Basically, I was getting a little bit of oversteer. It was barely anything, but I just overreacted is all it was, and I just put the wheel straight into the wall. I went, and that allowed the 19 of Harrison Burton to get past me, who's now going around through turns 1 and 2, and we barely avoided some contact on the right side of our car. The caution comes out. Stage 1 comes to an end lap early here from Darlington in the Southern 500. The chaos is picking up now as Harrison went around a big moment right there. That could have been race ending if he would have hit him at the wrong angle with the wrong speed and whatnot, but fortunately he just only hit us on the right side of our car as we had just enough time to avoid it. So now we're going to come into the pit lane here for 2 cans of fuel, 4 fresh tires. I had made adjustments on the last green flag pit stop and obviously didn't have a whole lot of time to see how it's going to handle here in the longer run, but from the adjustments I made, I was confident it was going to be a lot tighter and a lot more stable on the exit of specifically turns 2. As Matt DiBenedetto on the 10 car for Stuart Hans Racing stays out, gains 20 positions right there. We are now P5 here as we get ready to go green for the start of stage 2 from the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. And now in stage 2, it is time to get amped. There you have the AM segment and a very, very strong restart for us right there. We were down in P5, now up into P3, trying to put some pressure on the 23 of Bubba Wallace here for second place, and I stayed in the throttle right here earlier in stage 1. If I would have stayed in the throttle right there, I probably would have gone towards the inside wall nearly head on. That time, the car didn't even move, so it was great, and we actually get clear of Bubba right there. A little bit of a chop on his nose right there to just make sure he stays behind us, and that would actually, unfortunately, allow the 21 of Alfredo to go by. So I gained one spot, and I lose it immediately there as Alfredo is able to get past. So now on lap 12 of 26 here in stage 2, I'm just doing my best to stick with Alfredo. We knew he had a very fast car, and so did the 83 of Christian Eckes in the Red Bull, who was just trying to stretch out that gap here as the stage 2 goes on. Eckes won earlier this season at Sonoma Raceway in a last few lap pass on Kyle Larson now, as we would actually get back in front of Anthony Alfredo there in the 21. He's putting up a really good performance here today, and that could be a part of the regulation changes, or it could just be one of those races where they've just found a lot of speed there in that Wood Brothers machine. So now on lap 17, green flag pit stop starting to get underway once again. I never did mention Harrison Burton, by the way, after that crash in the end of stage 1. He is completely out of this race, so fortunate for him, he already has a win, and he's locked into the playoffs because of that. So now on lap 19, the 83 of Christian Eckes, he actually pitted a lot earlier than other people in stage 1 and got to the front because of that, so I decided to force his hand. I'm going to pit before him here. We barely get down to the speed limit there. I was very aggressive that time on the pit entry, unlike stage 1, and I think it's going to pay off for us here, especially with the 83 of Christian Eckes staying out longer than us. So he's going to stay out at least an extra lap now as he decides not to come in that time by, so that's only going to help us, and I feel like we actually might be able to get in front of him and take the lead here towards the end of the second stage after the green flag pit stop cycle runs its course. So now at the end of lap 20 coming to 21, Eckes, he's coming into the pit lane, so now we're really going to get an idea of what's about to happen here. So of course, just giving it everything I had right here to try and make sure I get in front of that 83, and that is exactly what would happen. Out of turns 2 on lap 23, we get way in front of Christian Eckes actually, but he has so much speed in that car that he was actually very quickly running me down in the closing laps of stage 2. But here we are leading the way with just 2 laps to go in the second stage to the back of Zane Smith. We got past him, we came through to start the final lap, and now you can see behind us Eckes even closer within half a second at this point now as we come through turns 1 and 2 for the final time. So I'm seeing him close so much, and I was looking at my oil temperature. I saw it was at 232 degrees, and what does that have to do with anything? I was like, you know what, I'm going to add some more grill tape here and see if we can just find a little bit more speed and pace in the car with that little adjustment right there, because this car felt great in stage 2 as we come through and proved that it felt great by winning stage 2. I didn't want to affect the handling too much, and I felt like the least significant way to do that, but still maybe find something, was with the grill tape adjustment. So that's what I decided we were really going to do here at the end of the second stage. So we pick up a playoff point here in Darlington. We picked up one last episode of Talladega, but keep in mind we pitted so late in stage 2, everybody did there under the green flag conditions, that a couple drivers actually elected to stay out completely from the pit lane at the end of the stage, and that was Anthony Alfredo, as well as our Gordon Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Alex Bowman. A questionable call there from those 2 drivers, but it helps us because Eckes, he lost 4 positions on the pit lane, and he's on the outside. The preferred lane, of course, here at Darlington is always the inside, as we are back underway for the start of the third and final stage. Now, I'm confident we can pass the 48 of Alex Bowman with really no problems whatsoever, but Alfredo could be tough to pass because you see that fire symbol, and he's been fast all race long. So I wouldn't count out Alfredo here, even though, of course, he stayed out and has older tires. It's only by a few laps, so I definitely was expecting a good fight from Alfredo here, as we already got past the 48 of Alex Bowman, but we tried our best to push Alex Bowman to victory in the last episode of Talladega, and it was looking like we had a chance to do so until a late race crash from Joey Logano completely changed everything and found us nearly winning ourselves, but pushing Daniel Suarez to the victory instead. Now as we're on the inside of the 21 of Anthony Alfredo, as we exit turns to a nice little side-by-side battle down this back straightaway. I really wanted to complete this pass as soon as possible now as we go down into the corner. Now as we clip the apron sideways, we go nearly spinning the car, but we make a huge save, or potentially race-saving save right there in Darlington. But all the progress we had been working towards is gone now, as this is the worst we've run all day long here position-wise, other than under a green flag pit stop cycle. And look at what we got to get past there. It's 2 by 2 by 2, multiple rows deep, and it's going to be very hard to work our way through this traffic. But Eckes, the guy I was really focused on, still back here with myself, and actually we would get in front of Eckes again just by following this inside line. We got once again past the 23 of Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman, and now passing the number 5 again of Kyle Larson in that Brandt Chevrolet Camaro, who's clearly taking a hit with these regulation changes, as this has not been a memorable race for Kyle Larson, but this is about the best he's run all day inside the top 10. But now on lap 64 into turns 1, the caution comes out with 29 laps to go. Everybody is going to be staying out here instead of pitting, and up front you got drivers like Todd Gilliland, Justin Haley, all having great runs. Bubba Wallace, he is going to elect to come into the pit lane. I don't think he brought out the caution either, but nonetheless, he's going to come in, give up a bunch of track position. Will this be the right call for Bubba? It could get him his first win of the season if it works out right. Anthony Alfredo, though, gets ready to lead the field back to the green flag as we are underway, and you see there on the row in front of us Kyle Busch with a brand new paint scheme there from Latchion as well. It's a bit of a grayed out M&M's car with the red numbers there on the side. It looks tremendous. I love that paint scheme now. Very simple, but just looks so good here as we come through turns 1 and 2. This time, I did not have the preferred lane. Christian Eckes did, so the Red Bull gets back in front of us, and I really wanted to make sure we were in front of that Red Bull driver because we know how fast he is, and if he gets in front of me, it's game over. But we still have time here now as I'm desperately trying to get to the inside, even trying to force the 3 wide in the middle between Sam Mayer as well as Chase Briscoe there for Penske Racing. Doesn't quite work there, but we have enough draft from Mayer to get clear of Briscoe into turns 1. So now on in the 11th position we have a lot of work to do because that 83 of Eckes is still a few rows in front of us, but I get aggressive right there. Some contact with Jones, but 3 wide with the 2 McLaren teammates right now as we go down towards turns 3. So I was being a lot more aggressive here than I was in stage 2, stage 1, other than of course that one moment in stage 1 where we had a lot of contact with a bunch of drivers in just a lap or 2 period. But now we also got past the 9 of Chase Elliott for P7. Now we work on passing Christopher Bell for that Roush LeBron 17 car, and sure enough, up into P6 we go, right behind that 83, just keeping him within reach is the main goal at this point now, is go down into turn 3 because I know it's going to be very, very hard to pass him. Now is Daniel Suarez for Going Racing. Last episodes when it goes crashing through turns 3 and 4, Custer involved, so is the 43 of Gutierrez. I saw the 78 of McLaughlin as well get a piece of it. The caution comes out. This time, that forces everybody into the pit lane. So we come in P6, didn't adjust the car, 4 tires. Bubba Wallace takes only 2 tires, I believe, gains 15 positions. Eckes loses 2 spots. We gain 2 spots up into P4. Eckes P6, both of us no longer in the preferred lane whatsoever as we are back underway. Alfredo, Haley, your top 2 here as we got only 19 laps to go, and Bubba Wallace back up in the mix. So maybe they did make the right call, but at the same time, well, everybody has 4 fresh tires while he only likely has 2 fresh tires, so this might not quite work out like he was hoping it would. I see a hole right there behind me in my mirror between the 17 of Bell and the 38 of Gilliland, so I backed out of the throttle, made it happen, got up the inside. Now, and the 83 of Eckes still stuck on the top. That was the biggest thing. I had been just focused on that 83 this whole final stage. I was confident that I can run down the 21 of Anthony Alfredo and pass him. We've proven that already, and I felt like this car now was even better than at that point earlier when I passed Anthony Alfredo. So the confidence was just through the roof at this point. We proved the car is so fast right there by passing the 38 of Gilliland there, and a just commanding move right there out of turns 2, laying the power down, and the car just stuck right there. Now up the inside of Kyle Busch, a bit aggressive again, 3 wide for a brief moment with him and Bubba Wallace into turns 1 and 2. We cleared Kyle Busch for 4th place, and now next objective past the 23 of Bubba Wallace in that 2311 Racing Toyota Camry there. Christian Eckes had now gotten to our back bumper. He was following us through to the inside of the 23 of Bubba Wallace, so now the pressure was on lap 79 out of turns 4 right here. The 83 was just downright able to turn off the corner way better than I was able to get that throttle down, and unfortunately Eckes gets past us into turns 1. I didn't bother putting up a fight here. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to get in behind you and just try to follow you to the front of the pack here with that 16 of Haley, with that 21 of Anthony Alfredo. But now on lap 81 through turns 3 and out of turns 4, that was all it took. I made a huge mistake right there. I got into the outside while I throw a big block on the 23 because I knew if he passes me, it's guaranteed over, although it's realistically completely over now as we come through to lap 86. Eckes got past the 16 of Haley, was running down the 21 of Anthony Alfredo, and I was hoping for a caution. Something needs to happen. I was just really hoping that was going to happen. Maybe someone would blow a tire or crash, whatever it was. But now, as we came through to lap 89 out of turns 2 to the inside of the 16 colleague driver, of Justin Haley, and these regulation changes have really benefited this team already, you can tell, but unfortunately Eckes had gotten past the 21 of Anthony Alfredo in the final few laps of this race, and just hoping that caution was coming, because now we're in the perfect line for that to happen. We'll be on the inside, but unfortunately the caution never came. We come through to the final lap. Eckes leads away, pulling away from Anthony Alfredo, as now you see all the loud traffic. That's not going to allow us to be a threat to win this race, because Eckes just got through it all and only has one car that's about a second in front of him. But now look at Anthony Alfredo. He's going to be stuck behind Custer and Timmy Hill. I'm just going to cruise right on by on the outside here, down towards turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Disappointing there that we let that potential win slip away, and Darlington got into the wall. Eckes as well got by just before that. He wins for the second time this season, and his second career win overall. We come through to cross the line, runner-up, second place here in the Southern 500. But one takeaway from this race was that was hands down throughout the whole NASCAR Heat 5 career mode so far. That was our best Darlington race we've ever put together. So I was very, very happy with that. We, of course, got in the wall a few times. We got into a couple cars, made some contact here and there. We're a little bit too aggressive at some points, but nonetheless, it really worked out in the end there with a clean third and final stage. There you see the point standings there for the Xfinity Series. AJ Allmendinger currently the last driver in, and then the Cup Series grid. So Eckes 2 wins on the season, and that leaves still just 7 different winners. And in the next episode, we go to Texas Motor Speedway. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. Bowman, the last guy in right now. Bubba Wallace, the first out. Kyle Busch, all the way down like P21 at 25 points below the cut line. But before we end it, just want to say thank you to the Go In Racing members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasura, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana9302, King Matt XL, Speed Demon 341, as well as Illinois Die. Guys, I appreciate you guys' support so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.